while talking, he suddenly stabbed this old man, the Singamanayaka, and got onto his horse and ran away. This Singamanayaka was now, he is between life and death. He is badly wounded. So then he called his two sons who were between Tungabhadra and Krishna River. They went on to expand their kingdom. So they came, and then before he died, he said, the Kshatriyas, we worked together like brothers to protect the Kakatiya kingdom, but now they left their Kshatriya dharma. That means they did not follow the Kshatriya or war rules, and they are deceitful. They stabbed me. I want them to kill them, and I want this area, whole Telangana, free of Kshatriyas. There should not be any Kshatriyas in Telangana. So there's a big battle ensued there. Hundreds of people died. They said they killed 101 Kshatriya rulers in that, and also they killed a lot of Reddy rulers. And finally, thousands of people died there. And Madhava Varma, he left the fort and went back to Vijayawada. And these people, they did Ranahoma. Ranahoma means in the midnight they get up, they take the skull and open skull of the enemy, and they put a blood-stained rice in that. They offer to the Bhuta Preta Kantarasundis. He offered those to those, and this is some kind of ritual to scare the people. Anyway, thus ended the Jallipalli Poratam, the big, and then big obstacle is removed. Then there was a group of Kshatriyas near Mulangur. Mulangur is near Huzurabad, between Karimnagar and Huzurabad. There is a hill fort. It's a very strong fort, and a lot of Kshatriya, Kshatriya rulers, I should say, and also the Reddy Prabhus, they all got together and to attack the Madha Naidu and Anupata Naidu. There's a big battle, and also they were badly defeated and they killed. And next gathering was near Bongir. There's a small town called Indriyala, that is on the banks of Musi River. We don't know whether that town is there or not, but I'm talking about 600 years ago, 700 years ago. And there also they killed hundreds of Kshatriyas, and thus the Kshatriya Nirmolana was done. That's why we do not see any Kshatriya Samsthanas or Kshatriya Deshmukhs in whole of Telangana. And it is something very unusual. And then the next thing is, in 1369, the last thing is the Kapanayaka. But Kapanayaka, by this time, he became old, and he was the ruler of Warangal. So they attacked him outside Hanamkonda near Bhimaram. Bhimaram is now it is a part of Hanamkonda, near Kakatiya University. That's where the big battle happened, and hundreds of people died, and Kapanayaka was killed. Thus, the country of Telangana came under the jurisdiction of these Anapota Nayaka and Madha Nayaka, and they built big forts in Rasakonda as well as Devarakonda, and then they invaded Bastar, part of Bastar, and they also invaded the kingdom of Kalinga. They occupied, Kalinga means still Telugu part, the Srikakulam district, the present-day Vizag, and also East Godavari. They occupied that, and thus they established the kingdom of Velmas. And this kingdom lasted for about I would say about 120 years after they established the kingdom. But if you include when they were smaller kings in Amanagallu and all that, is almost 150 years they ruled. And from 1369, when they killed Kapanayaka, until 1475, the 5 generations ruled. After Anapota Nayaka, his name is, the second one is called Sarmagya Singha Bhupala, and his son is Kumar Anapota Nayaka. The last one is Rao Sarvagya Singha Bhupala. So these kings, their rule was just like the Kakatiya. They built a lot of these tanks, a lot of temples, they maintained the peace. And when the peace time, the people really enjoyed. They maintained the old order. They gave the, just like whatever was happening in the Kakatiya kingdom. But the problem was there were frequent invasions by the Brahmini kings. The Muslim kings were occupying, and he lost the support of the king from the Orissa, the Kalinga kings. And also they used to get some support from the Vijayanagar kings. They did not get it. And they were frequently fighting with the Reddy kings of Kondavidu and Rajamahendravaram, the other one, the Kandukuru. But those Reddy kings, unfortunately, they were fighting among themselves too. And both these kingdoms almost vanished, maybe about the same time. The Reddy kingdoms vanished somewhere around 1450, about 25 years before the Velma kingdom. So both these kingdoms came to an end in the later part of the 15th century. And the last king, his name is Sarvanga Singha Bhupala. He went to Velugodu. From Velugodu, he served the Vijayanagar kings. From there, they established the town in Nellore district called Venkatagiri, and later on they moved to Venkatagiri, and their descendants are still there in Andhra. There are about maybe Venkatagiri, Bobbili, Pitapuram, and the other one is, I'm sorry, I can't get to that. Anyway, five branches of the Recharla kings are still ruling at the Jataprolu. Jataprolu also belongs to the Recharla kings. And the others, the Samantas, we call them, what do we call them? The Nujivid Rajas and few others, the Palvancha, and then the Rajas of Kalahasti, and a few others also. They used to serve in the Kakatiya army and also in the Rachakonda, so they established samsthanas in those areas. And this is the main story. And when it comes to the literary part, these kings were not only poets, but they had a lot of poets in their courts. One, the Sarvanga Singha Bhupala one, he himself is a great poet, and he had a lot of poets by name. One was Vishweshwara Kavi and Pashupati Naganada, etc. They wrote a lot of Sanskrit works, and he himself wrote 3 books. One called Ratna Pancharika. The irony is that book was found in 1910, not too long ago, maybe 110 years ago, in the Travancore, in the Sanskrit library of Travancore, that is in Kerala. And some Sanskrit poet, he read that. When they published that in Sanskrit, he noticed that, and he brought to the attention of the Raja of Pitapuram, and he translated that into Telugu, and he published that in somewhere around 1925. That's also about 95 years ago. But until that time, nobody knew. And he had written 2 more books. One is called Rasavarna Sudhakaram and Rasavarna Sangeetam, or whatever it is. So it is related to the music and related to the Natya Shastra. And these were found in the course of Baroda, the Baroda Samsthanam, and also Bikaner. They found those also in somewhere around 1920, and somehow they were brought back to Andhra. In Pitapuram, they were translated into Telugu. So what I'm trying to tell you is, these were not known, even though they were written hundreds of years ago. Only very recently they were brought into light. And the other thing I want to say is the Maharaja of Pitapuram, he did a tremendous service. When there were no universities and no big colleges, he was patronizing a lot of poets in his asthana. There were close to more than 100 poets. There were more than the Krishnadevaraya, or even more than the Reddy kings. The Reddy kings did a tremendous job. You know, the Srinada worked for the Reddy kings, the Erra Pragada worked for Reddy kings. But this man did much more literary service, being a little small jamindar. He's not a king or anything. So I'm not expert in the literature, but I just want to tell what happened in this. And thus, now a lot of things happened after we got the independence. All these estates, the rajas were abolished, and they became common people now. So now we see the modern India, the democracy.